You are tuned in to What Up Baltimore online radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this channel are of the host and not of LadyJ Media. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, What Up Baltimore TV. And if you really don't want to miss any of the shows, hit that notification bell and you'll get a message every time we come on. Now, we got it from here, so sit back, relax, and stay tuned. All right, everybody. Welcome to What Up Baltimore. My name is Dr. LadyJ. We got a special guest here tonight. We are on the radio, we're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So listen, if you are on any of those channels, please make sure you share, let people know. Normally I don't do 2 nights in a row with shows, but we got another show tonight. So we wanted to get Miss Tisha Winkler on to talk about her book, to talk about some other things that, this is adult time. It's 8 p.m. So, hopefully the kids are out of the room, away, and you had your dinner and all of that, and you just sitting back, relaxing. So thank you so much, Tisha, for coming on What Up Baltimore. And thank you for reaching out, so we can get to know who you are and we can get to know about your book and, everything that you have been working on, because I always say that we should support and uplift one another. So thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really honored to be here.
Good. Tell us about, I guess we want to start with the book, because you just recently published a book, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about your book.
Well, my first book that I had published is called My Journey Here Was Not Easy. And it's actually a book about my trials, my tribulations, and the many obstacles I went through as a young child and my teenage year in my adulthood.
Okay. And is it more like an autobiography? Is that the type of book that it is?
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay. Your voice is a little muffled. I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. Do you have earphones on or headphones?
No earphones. No earphones.
Okay, you might have to get closer to your mic because it was a little muffled. So, and you said growing up, it's telling a story about you growing up as a kid and things that you went. What were some of the things that you went through growing up?
While I was growing up, my mother and father, they were divorced when I was 4 years old. And after that, I had a lot of peer pressure, and I suffered with depression for over 20 years.
Wow. What did you do? I'm just digressing a little bit because I love talking about mental health, but what did you do to overcome or work through depression?
Well, for years, I was in denial with the depression. I would always have spells of crying, like every day. I had two suicidal attempts when I was a teenager. But as I grew older, I think God used the church really to help me to be around people. Talk about what I was going through. That really helped me.
Right. Tisha, do me a favor. I want you to go out and come back in because it's muffled. And I want everybody to hear, especially what you just said. I want them to hear what you were saying about that. Because when we talk about mental health, a lot of people right now are having serious mental health issues. And I'm always excited when people are not ashamed to come on and really talk about their story. So do me a favor, go back out, come back in, and we're going to try it again, okay?
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. So guys, we're going to get her story as soon as she comes back. And we're going to talk about, because she has a very interesting story that I want you all to listen to. And again, if any of you want to be a part of this show, or you have a story, or you have a book that you're trying to get out, just let me know and we can work on that. Okay. So let's see, she's coming back on again. So let's see, we're going to try this again. Y'all be patient with us. Sometimes technology ain't all that great. So we're going to try it again. All right. So let's see if we can get her back on. All right, Tisha, we're going to try this again. And I think that your, can you hear me? Yeah, I think your mic is muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. So you were telling us that, did you say 20 years you were suffering with depression?
Over 20 years, yeah.
Over 20 years. And I was asking you, what did you do to overcome that, or to, learn how to deal with a depressive disorder?
I think for years, my journey, I think I mastered a lot. I was able to like overcome it by just hiding it most of the time. A lot of people really didn't know, but really was going through,
They
especially
didn't know.
behind closed doors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And glad you said that too, because that's what happens, a lot of times. And I'm actually speaking from experience because I suffered with depression as well. And I say suffered because, I went to get my healing, by going through therapy, and also learning how to just, work through that, because it's not a good feeling. So when you were, how old were you when you realized that something wasn't right and that it could possibly be depression?
I think it might have been like 19 years old
Mm-hmm.
because it was like every day I would just go home and just start crying. I would be around people, and I was always a loving, outgoing, happy person, but I
Mm-hmm.
always felt sad on the inside all the
Mm.
time. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And that going through that sadness of depression, what were some of the things that it led you to do, or not do? Because depression has a way of making us feel like we're shut down and we don't want to do anything, don't want to be around people. So what were some of the ways that it made you feel?
I think during that time, it made me feel very, I lashed out at people because I actually had depression and anxiety and panic attacks.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I was dealing with multiple things that going on in my life. I always thought people were against me. I was very easily offended with people, and always thought people were talking about me. So I really had a lot of insecurities in my own life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you said it started, you realized that when you were 19?
Yeah.
And when you started realizing that at 19, how long did it go on for?
Well, I'm 47 now. It's been going on since now. It got a little worse when my mom passed away 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's when I really knew I needed some help.
Mm-hmm. So from 19 up until your age now, you didn't go to get help. You just kind of dealt with it, suppressed it.
I had counseling in my 20s, but sometimes I would miss appointments. I was like, oh, I don't need no help. I'm good. I'm good. But I really needed that help. I was just in a lot of denial because, back then, years ago, it was a taboo. People thought you were like, crazy. And I didn't want that stereotype,
Mm-hmm.
because mental health now, people really what they need now. But back then, I thought people thought it was something wrong with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because back in the day, if somebody said they were going to see a psychiatrist,
Yeah,
they just automatically assume the person is crazy.
yes.
That's a stigma that we have in our community. But I'm glad to see the people are moving away from it. So going through that, that's a long time, from 19 up until your 40s. And so during that time, what were some of the things that happened to you?
During that time, the depression really led to I had a lot of, well, I'm very transparent. I had a lot of sexual relationships with men, relationships that weren't pleasing. What else? I just was I did a lot of things that I regret doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not being sometimes I would just not I would say to myself sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always alone sometimes. And it took a dread out on my life. It really did for so many years.
Yeah. Yeah. And how did your family react around all of that? Because the one thing I noticed is that a lot of people, when they're dealing with depression and your family doesn't really know how to, first of all, they may not know that you're depressed. They may just assume that you just acting crazy, and so that's the label that they give you. And you end up walking with that, the rest of your life. So how did your family react during these many years of you going through depression?
I think some of my family members they were sometimes they would tiptoe around me because they didn't know what my reaction would be at times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was easily offended. I always had something to say. Back then, I used to cuss you out, so it was I wasn't too good back then. I mean,
I, I
I can know how to control myself now, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. My mouth used to get me in trouble.
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that one. And did you find that they were? Do you think they knew you were depressed?
Actually, I really don't think so until I
Yeah. So what do you think they thought was going on?
say I feel thankful while I was growing up because I went through so many things, poverty. So a lot of things me and my mom we went through in secret. So they really didn't know a lot of stuff we were going.
Okay. And move back away from your phone just a little bit. I think we can hear you better when you move back. So you said you and your mom were you grew. Go say that again. I don't want to say the wrong things about you and your mom.
Yes, when my mom had bought her house, it was like for 10 years we went through a lot of trauma and poverty.
Okay. Okay. And so going through that, do you think that caused some of the depression that you went through as an adult?
Yes, I really think so because like when I went home in the neighborhood, I used to be like very depressing and I wasn't happy anyway with like my workplace. So when I went home, most when you go home, that's going to be your safe haven and your restful place.
Hmm.
But going through with my mother, I was in shambles with rats in our house. So it was a lot of things I was going through traumatic.
Yeah. And I think that I'm glad you said that because when you said you realized you were depressed at 19, a lot of that depression was starting when you were a kid. And so, it was starting to manifest itself and come out when you were 19. As a child, we really don't know how to express, Mom, Dad, I'm depressed, or something doesn't feel right. We just know that something ain't right. But, some of those things were starting to happen and they were inside of you and they started to grow and come out when you turned 19. And then, being the 19-year-old woman, it's like, going into your womanhood and adulthood and all of that, and still dealing with those things that happened from your childhood, which causes a lot of people, to fall into that depressive state. So, when did you start going to therapy?
Well, actually, when I was in high school, I started therapy when I was like 15 or 16 years old because I think during that time they gave me counseling. I was a runaway too.
Okay. Okay.
So that's when they really gave me counseling. And I had it for like, I had it for like 7 or 8 years, but I didn't keep a lot of my appointments.
Hmm. And how come you didn't keep the appointments?
I used to cancel all the time.
You just didn't want to go?
I didn't want to go, and the medicine that they had gave me at the time, I wouldn't take it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I think a part of that is being in denial too, being in denial because and as a kid though, you don't really understand fully what's going on and you just really don't want to talk about it because you just don't know what's going on. So, but as an adult, as you got older, and I know you talked about having different relationships with men, did it affect you in your workplace, in your, I know we talked about your personal life. Do you have children?
Actually, no, not yet.
You don't have children. Okay, because I was going to ask you if it affected your children. But like in the workplace, and do you find that you are like kind of OCD about stuff? Because sometimes we go through stuff and we become OCD because of stuff that we've gone through because we don't ever want to be in that place again. So do you find yourself being like that?
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We um it's just, and sometimes when you sit down and have these conversations, it makes it easier for other people because they can sit and watch us talk and think to themselves like, wow, I'm, kind of going through the same thing. So thank you for your transparency. So what kind of ways did it manifest as far as like you going to work and being depressed and you being kind of OCD about stuff?
Oh my goodness. In the workplace, some of my jobs I had a lot of conflict with employees.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought it was the other person, but it was actually me.
Lashing out, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Did you lose any jobs over some of your behavior?
No, I never actually. I did get rolled up one time,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I never did lose a job. But my supervisor was like, I didn't handle conflict with the employees. I would always say they were doing something, but I didn't. I had trust issues. I didn't trust people at all.
Right, right. And I saw something recently that you and those of you who are watching, if you could do me a favor as you're watching, just also make sure you share the video. I try to do shows that are informative that can really help other people. So this is good. I like this. I saw a video that you did a few days ago, and you were actually live, and I kind of caught the tail end of it, but you were talking about family. And so tell us a little bit of what was going on when you were having that conversation with the world.
But my family,
Yes.
you know what part it was? About the family.
It was something about you can't depend on family or something. I don't know. It was a video you did, and you were just talking about, I think, maybe, I don't know, maybe you were having a bad day. Maybe it's good you don't remember.
Actually, I was going through it. Sometimes it seems like now, since my mom been passed away for like 4 years now, and sometimes it might be me, but sometimes I just feel like I'm not supposed to be like I used to be,
You say that one more time.
and
Your family.
sometimes I just don't feel like I'm real close to my family like I used to be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
After
and I
what?
don't get the support.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
this is after your mom passed away.
yeah,
Were they supportive before she passed away?
no,
Well, there
I
you
know.
there you go.
Yeah,
I think sometimes we have to like talk through it to make it make sense,
yeah,
because if they were supportive before she passed away, I could see everybody grieving and maybe the family falls apart.
yeah.
But from what you've been saying in your story, and I'm following along in your story, it doesn't sound like they were like, 100% in before your mom passed away. And so sometimes the expectations that we want to have in our mind, we want certain things to happen in our mind. But the reality is, it is what it is. It wasn't
I
happening
know.
before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was not happening before. So how do you deal with that? Because we're talking about family, we're talking about family dynamics, we're talking about the people that you're connected to by blood, DNA. So how do you handle that situation, being a person who has battled with depression?
I think now I'm a little better because God has blessed me with a women's group.
And back away from you keep coming up to the screen, back away from
Okay, I'm sorry.
we can
I
hear
think
you.
it's getting better now because I have my
You
Voice
have
for the Voiceless Ministry.
you have a
So I
say
see a lot of my friends all the time in the
okay.
group.
So
So I
you're
have a
in
lot of support.
so you're saying you're in a ministry and what's the ministry called?
I just called Voice for the Voiceless Women's Ministry.
Okay. And so that's your support system right now.
Oh yeah, I have so much. I'm in another women's group. It's called Hidden Treasures, and we
Mhm.
see each other once a month. So I have a lot of support from them.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. And sometimes, Tisha, your friends and these other support systems become closer than your family members.
Yeah.
And, you know, whoever it is, those are the people you lean on, and you hold on to them. And I did a video a few days ago, and I was talking about, about checking your circle and the people that you have in your life because everybody in your life ain't for you, And so
Yeah.
and sometimes it's family, so you gotta check your circle. So what it what I wanted to ask you about in your battles and dealing with depression for so long, do you feel like you need to continue to be in therapy? Should this be something that you continue to go on? For me, like I tell people, I'm gonna keep going till I go to the grave. I'm just not gonna stop going.
I think for me it's going to be a lifetime thing too because it really helps me. I go every 2 weeks.
Hmm. Okay.
And yeah.
Now we do have a question from Keith, and Keith was asking what happened in her childhood that made her so he wrote it again. What happened? Wait a minute, Keith. What not? Let me read this again. I think he's saying what happened in your childhood that made you so depressed. I think that's what he's saying. Um, and we did touch on that. We did touch on that. That's go to the beginning, Keith, and you'll be able to catch on to what she was saying. And so, um, do you find now that your life is a lot happier now?
I still have those moments where I do break for time, but I am more happier years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Can I
good.
add something too?
Yeah.
Well, during my when I was younger, I was molested too.
Wow. How
I was
old were you?
molested like 3 times, and I never told my mother until I was 30 years old.
Wow. How old were you at the time?
I was like 9 years old and like 14.
By the same person?
I'm two different people.
Were they family?
Actually, it was my babysitter's granddaughter and one of my grandmother's neighbors.
Wow. And how did that affect you, being molested? And this is outside of what was going on in your home.
Yeah,
You had to deal with. So how did that affect you?
I think it actually for years it kind of there were two girls. It kind of messed up with my womanhood at the time. But thank God I never went, another way. But I was very insecure about being around a lot of women back then.
Wow. I can imagine because I went through the same thing. So I definitely do understand. Um, so tell us about your book because it seems like all of this is falling into your book.
Yeah, my book is called My Journey Here Was Not Easy.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's actually on Amazon.com. They have an ebook too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually talking about my life story, the things I had went through as a child, even in my teenage year and my adulthood. And it's even talking about some of my accomplishments I did too in the
Oh,
book. Yeah.
okay. And what inspired you to write your book?
Well, I know when before my mom had passed, I had like all these different poems. This is actually my third book. My other two
Okay.
books is a book of poems. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to inspire other men and women that even though we go through a lot of trials and a lot of things that we go in our life, that we can still make it through each day with a smile. I just want to encourage women that even though we go through all these challenges, we can make it through another day.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just want to share my story.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's important. It's very brave of you. And not only that, Tisha, it's also therapeutic because, you're emptying out and you're letting it all out. So that's not something that's going to weigh you down as you continue the journey in life because you just putting it out there. I always say to people that everybody has a right to tell their story. And don't let anyone tell you that. And I'm not just talking to Tisha, I'm talking to everybody that's listening and watching. Don't ever let anyone tell you how not to tell your story because that's personal to you and it's something that you went through. So you said they can go on Amazon to purchase your book?
Yes, Amazon.com,
Okay.
the book and ebook.
Okay. And how's it going as far as the book sales?
It just came out like 3 weeks ago, so I really had to get on the promotion.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot on my plate.
Yeah. The promotion is key in this day and age. Like you
Yes,
definitely have you definitely got to get out on the promotion trail with that. But I want to thank you for coming on tonight. I want to thank you for being so open and transparent about your life and what you've gone through because also as women, as Black women, that's something that we need to do so we empower other women to let
yes,
other women know who may be suffering that hey, I always tell my story. I went through it. Now you telling your story. You went through it. And so to let people know, don't be ashamed of it. That was a part of your journey. That's a part of your healing. And that's a part of getting you to where God really wants you to be. So thank you for coming on. Don't go. When I close out, don't go because I wanted to talk to you. But do you have any last words you want to say to everybody?
I just want to for letting me come on tonight, and I just want to encourage everyone to hold on to your dreams. And if you have any things that you want to do in life, you can do it. Just put your mind to it, and you can get everything done. And be encouraged.
Absolutely. How can they reach you on social media if anybody wants to reach out?
Well, you can reach out to me at Tisha Winkler on Facebook, also on Instagram and TikTok Tisha Winkler, and at Tisha Winkler 57.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tisha, and thank you everybody for tuning in to What Up Baltimore. Everybody have a good night, and we will talk to you soon. Just wanted to let you know that the host of this show appreciates the time that you've spent with them. Now, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with everything that we're doing. And most of all, thank you for tuning in to What Up Baltimore online radio, where the people have the power.